Welcome back, everyone. It is Eric from Rare Candy, and today we're going to be taking a look at the first cards that kind of unexpectedly got revealed from Japan's upcoming Incandescent Arcana set, which is going to be dropping over there in September, and of course will be funneled into our eventual November set, whatever it winds up being called several months later. And just real quick, guys, I do want to, of course, address the elephant in the room here. If the last video I posted at the beginning of my move into my new place, and today's video I'm coming at you, which is kind of at the end of my move. I am pretty much all settled into my new place. I'm just waiting for a couple of things to come in the mail to finish up my new office and recording space, hence the lack of a webcam or any visuals today. I hope my voice will, get the job done here. Just to give you guys a little bit of an update, uploads are, pretty much about to resume kind of as normal. So again, just to reiterate, if you guys missed the last video I posted a couple of weeks ago, I have not abandoned my channel or anything. I've just been trying to finish up everything with my move and setting up my new recording space, which did require kind of a lot of work. But with all that out the way, guys, if you can't, remember to smack that like button to feed the YouTube algorithm. Make sure you're subscribed, and let's go ahead and check out these new cards that just got revealed. So it looks like we have another unplayable Zarude card, unfortunately. But beyond that, we do have, looks like a Delphox Evolution line. As you can see, the character rare trainer gallery cards are going to be coming back. They're going to give one to Braixen, which I've never really understood why Braixen has like kind of a following. I mean, am I like the weird one here? But I just feel like this is like the middle evolutions are typically the least interesting of the evolution lines. Like typically they would give love to the final or the first form. But either way, guys, let's check out the... Oh, actually, hold that thought. This Braixen actually isn't too bad. We have apparently a new Serena card that we're going to be, I'm assuming is going to be down here somewhere. Let me see. Yes, there is a new Serena. So let's actually check this out because it is directly mentioned for the Delphox and the Braixen, but it says choose one, discard up to 3 cards from your hand, then draw until you have 5 cards in your hand. Okay. And switch one of your opponent's bench Pokemon V. Oh, okay. This is actually a pretty sick card. Let's come back to this a little bit later. But let's get back to the Braixen over here. So 60 for each of those in your discards, definitely pretty enticing. If you have all 4 in the discard, assuming you get in prize any, you're going to be hitting for 240. That's before things like Choice Belt and other damage modifiers. So I guess this is very similar to the Magikarp deck, because you need, in the case, well, not quite, because the Magikarp deck requires you to have all 4 Magikarp and all 4 Gyarados. It's a lot of cards to get in the discard, whereas this is only 4 cards to get. But either way, you're relying on getting a bunch of these cards in the discard, plus the use of a Choice Belt to fix your math. But this is pretty cool for just a stage 1 like this. That's enticing. Let's go ahead and check out the Delphox, though. Derpy kind of artwork. Not a big fan of the face here. I think that could have been tightened up a little bit, but hey, I'm just nitpicking at this point. But new stage 2 Pokemon, yet again, attacking for colorless energy. And the same attack here, the Flare Parade attack, but this time only for a single energy as opposed to the 2. And to 60 for each Serena you have in your discard pile. So is this worth evolving into the Delphox? I don't think the extra HP matters. I think the only reason you would really want this is because the energy cost is more flexible. Let's check out the second attack for 2 colors, just 50 for each energy your opponent has in play. Okay, this is actually not horrible. Very similar to the attack that Stormy V has. And so this definitely could be good against those Arceus V-Star decks, those Palkia V-Star decks that are swarming tons of energy in play. This might give you a big one-shot potential. But I gotta say, I think most of the time, just like going all in on Flare Parade kind of seems like the play here. Like, I feel like you're probably never building this deck around Delphox. Like, I'd imagine you're probably playing like a 4/4 Braixen and maybe like a 1 of Delphox just for the potential Energy Crush attack, since you're already more than likely playing Twin, Double Turbo Energy, etc. But cool 1 prize evolution line. I do like this. Okay, Reshiram is finally getting the Pokemon V treatment, it looks like. So let's take a look at this thing. All right, for fire energy, search your deck for up to 2 basic energies and attach them to one of your Pokemon play, then shuffle your deck. Okay, so this kind of reminds me of the, was it from Unified Minds, I think it was? There was a Victini fire Pokemon. For a fire energy, you got to search your deck for multiple different types of basic energies, attach them to your Pokemon. This definitely has that same sort of vibe to it. Now, attaching the multiple basic energies is cool because it doesn't specify they have to be the same kind or even fire energies. So you could use this as a way to power up maybe like dragon Pokemon or like amazing rare Pokemon. But I imagine more tun likely you're using this to power up a Reshiram V if I just had to guess here. Or more than likely other fire Pokemon, since the main attack here on the Reshiram V isn't that great for 2 fire and a colorless, is 200. And then flip a coin of tails, this Pokemon can't attack during your next turn. So the coin flip part honestly doesn't matter too much because Reshiram definitely could just get one shot on your next turn. But yeah, this I don't know, this doesn't seem that great to me. It seems kind of like a weaker version of Arceus V. Like, I know Arceus V has to attack for a double turbo energy, but it does kind of the same thing here and evolves into a pretty solid V-Star, let's be honest. So Reshiram V doesn't seem too great to me right now, but the first attack, maybe some hope for potential dragon or amazing rare Pokemon, maybe. All right, so next up we have, surprisingly, the mascot of the set is going to be Alolan Vulpix V and V-Star. Kind of weird they are choosing Vulpix instead of Ninetales, but hey, as long as the cards are good, that's all that matters. So we do have a 0 energy attack on the V, which is definitely appreciated. See, 10 plus 50 if they're a Pokemon V. Okay, so 60 for 0. Not bad. That might soften them up, you know, set up some math for a future attack. So let's check out the V-Star. I am certain this is going to be a lot better. And gotta say, the artwork on this thing, absolutely A+, even though it is not Ninetales, still looks amazing. Definitely going to be one of the weaker V-Stars we've had up until this point. 240 HP, so definitely, you know, not quite as tanky as, you know, Giratina, Arceus, etc. here. But the first attack, see, Water 2 colors, does 160. This damage isn't affected by effects on your opponent's active Pokemon. That's kind of annoying, guys. Like, I feel like every other set, they just keep printing these like shred attackers that can go through things like Miltank, which is kind of annoying, I gotta say. Like, this definitely makes like wall style decks less viable, which in turn makes the format a little less interesting. But anyways, also says during your opponent's next turn, prevent all damage done to this Pokemon from Pokemon with abilities. Okay, this is much more enticing. Okay, so the shred effect, that's fine. Yeah, you can knock out Miltank, you can attack into Duraludon if you really want to. But this part is specifically really cool. There's a lot of Pokemon running around with abilities, not only currently, but also in upcoming set like Lost Origin. And I'm sure there will be plenty more good Pokemon with abilities. Just off the top of my head here, guys, we got Arceus V-Star, we got Palkia V-Star, we've got Giratina V-Star, that's about, or not Giratina V-Star, but Zoroark V-Star coming out in Lost Origin. These are just like off the top of my head here. I don't know if you can build around this attack just because there are decks that do have answers to this, like decks like Mew V Max don't really care about this too much, or other decks like the upcoming Giratina V-Star don't really care about this. So Vulpix probably will need a partner, but this definitely has a pretty cool attack. I do like this. And then the V-Star power for a whopping 0 energy. Let's see, it's an attack that says it does 70 times the number of your opponent's Pokemon V. Okay, that's also pretty solid. It depends. Well, there's still a lot of Inteleon engines running around, so this definitely makes this V-Star power a little bit weak against certain decks. Actually, mainly the decks that you wall against, like the Arceus decks, the Palkia decks. This V-Star power is not too great against those, but you do have this attack instead. But this could definitely be much better against something like a Mew V Max deck, which is filling their whole bench with Pokemon V. So maybe the V-Star power will sort of offer you an answer to some of these other decks that the first attack doesn't cover against. But Alolan Vulpix, pretty good, I think. Definitely better than I would expect out of an Alolan Vulpix card. So yeah, kind of cool. Alrighty, so next up we have, looks like a Gardevoir evolution line. Let's see. Okay, we have Kirlia has an ability here. So once during your turn, you may discard a card from your hand and draw 2. Okay, so between Cinccino, Liepard, and now Kirlia, we have a lot of different ways at getting this style of effect. So that's kind of cool. Is there a reason to use Kirlia as opposed to Cinccino? Ralts is Fog Crystal-able, but I guess unless you're evolving into like Gardevoir or a Gallade or something like that, this doesn't seem like super great. I guess whenever Cinccino rotates, this will at least be a level ball searchable form of this ability, whereas Liepard right now is not going to be. So there is that. But, you know, at the very least, one of the best Kirlias that we have, if you're ever going to build like a Gardevoir or Gallade deck of some point, it definitely has to be one you're going to be considering. But let's go ahead and check out the Gardevoir, which of course does have a character rare, which I'm sure will be very sought after by many people. Let's see. Okay, looks like the same ability. Once during your turn, you may discard a card and draw 2. I gotta say, this actually lets me down. Well, especially because this attack is really lackluster here. Art, however, very good. Love the Gardevoir art. But yeah, this attack is not very good. And there's not really reason to use it for its ability since Kirlia has the same ability here. So this is a really confusing card in terms of how it's designed. Like, I really wish this was like the Hisuian Samurott we just saw, where you discard 1 and draw 3. Like, we need an incentive to actually evolve into Gardevoir, and there's literally none that I can see right now, other than you just really want to make use of these like full art cards that are sitting in your binder. That's the only reason I could think you'd ever want to play this. So this seems like a huge missed opportunity. This definitely absolutely should have been discard 1, draw 3, or it should have had a better attack. But yeah, so this Gardevoir probably not going to be too great, but at least the Kirlia has some hope at seeing some play eventually. All right, so we have, looks like a new Meowstic here, which is Level Ball Searchable. Fantastic, love to see that. And does have an ability. It says whenever you play this Pokemon from your hand to evolve one of your Pokemon during your turn, you may search your deck for up to 2 supporter cards and put them into your hand, then shuffle your deck. So a little bit of consistency boosting here. But I've got to say, this kind of just strikes me as like the poor man's Inteleon engine. Since Drizzile can do the same thing, they're both stage 1s, like you technically get 1 less card with Drizzile, but that card can be anything. It doesn't have to be a supporter. It could be a supporter, it could be item, stadium, whatever you might need, whereas it's going to be much more limited. Well, let me take that back. I forgot we already looked at that new Serena card. We want to get them into the discard pile ASAP. So there definitely could be a world where you grab like 2 Serenas, you play one of them, you discard the other as part of its effect. So I could, okay, the more I'm thinking about it, this might be able to see play for a deck like that, but most other decks are not going to be playing this over Inteleon. So yeah, this might only see play in like the theoretical Serena deck, but even still, Inteleon engine still might just be better, just because it's so good at setting up everything else in your deck too. So I don't know, has some chance in a very specific archetype, and that's about it. All right, so as you can tell, Radiant Pokemon are going to be continuing even until this next set as well. But unfortunately, Jirachi doesn't seem too great from what I remember, because I did actually see the translations for this one. Level Ball Searchable, so that is definitely nice. 90 HP is definitely welcome. But has the ability, if this Pokemon is knocked out by damage from an opponent's attack, search your deck for up to 3 cards and put it into your hand, then shuffle your deck. And then it's attack for 2 colorless energy. You flip 2 coins. If both are heads, your opponent's active is knocked out. Now, the issue that Jirachi has is that despite this being a great ability, it's only going to activate whenever it's in the active. Because let's be real, your opponent is not going to use something like a Rapid Strike Urshifu to snipe this Radiant Jirachi because of this ability. Your opponent's only going to knock this out when they absolutely feel like they have to. And to get Jirachi in the active, you're going to need to play either some sort of hit and run style deck like Greedent or Mienshao, or you're going to have to build a deck around attacking with Jirachi. And unfortunately, I don't think either of those options seem too appealing for the moment. Those hit and run style decks haven't been that great for a little while now. And similarly, the attack on Jirachi here, it's super coin flip reliant. Like even with Glimwood Tangle, needing to get 2 heads every time you attack is kind of a lot to ask for. But I will say, if you are determined to go that route, the deck kind of builds itself, and Jirachi kind of does help you chain your combo pieces every time one goes down. Like even if you flip Double Tails and Jirachi gets knocked out next turn, well, you can activate the ability, grab a Rescue Carrier, grab a Glimwood Tangle if they bumped your stadium, and maybe a Twin or Double Turbo Energy to use your attack. But I don't think this is nearly good enough to be a deck of its own. Alrighty guys, so we have a new Klinklang. I think it's going to be our last Pokemon we're going to take a look at from these early card reveals, but it has this ability whenever you play this Pokemon from hand to evolve one of your Pokemon during your turn. You may search your deck for up to 3 basic energy cards and attach them to your Pokemon in any way that you like and shuffle your deck. So I will give the card designer some credit here, because sometimes we see these stage 2 Pokemon get printed and they have these like attacks that do something like this for like a single energy. Like I can't count how many cards I've seen like this over the years. So the fact that this is an ability is good. We can reuse this with Scoop Up Net if we want to. We can get different types of energies. We can attach them to any Pokemon that we want. So there's absolutely some good things to say about this, but I don't know if we're playing this or we're just playing something like Arceus V-Star most of the time. You're a Pokemon that doesn't have great energy acceleration, no big deal. Just slap like a 3-3 or like a 4-3 Arceus in your deck and you suddenly have a halfway viable deck at the bare minimum. So I'm not really convinced of this card. I do think if this was a stage 1, we would definitely be in business, but being a stage 2 might just make this card just a little bit too awkward to actually get up and running. And we've arrived yet again at the Serena card that we briefly took a look at earlier. So yeah, like I said, we can play this in the Braixen deck or Delphox deck, whatever you end up building there. But I want to come back to the actual effects here. I really do like this style of card because not only is this a gusting effect, which is almost always going to be as good as Boss's Orders, because most of the time you're using Boss's Orders on a Pokemon V. And the fact that you have a Boss's Orders that now can also be a draw supporter if you need it to be is really, really cool. I really do like this a lot. One deck that definitely stands out to me is Mad Party. Any deck that has any incentive to discard cards, whether it's like the Magikarp or the like the Spiritomb that's coming out in Lost Origin, anything like that, I think might consider at least one of these. Like if you're playing Boss's Orders, I feel like you're probably playing at least one of these in place of one of your boss instead. Just to give yourself the extra flexibility of having it a way to draw cards, which is really cool. Because we've all had those games too where you open up with boss, like in your opening hand, you're just like, well, I want to see this card like 3 turns from now and my hand's dead. So it's really cool to be able to like ensure that your early game is a little bit stronger. So I think Serena is a really cool card. It's actually probably my favorite card that we looked at today. And yeah, really excited for this type of supporter design. Very, very cool. And I think, as I mentioned, that is going to do it for the new reveals. As you can see, we are getting Switch and Judge reprints. Nothing special there, but hey, it is cool to at least get our first look at these new cards. But yeah, we won't be getting these cards until November, so a little bit of ways, but new card reveals are always exciting. Definitely wanted to check these out and see what we have coming down the pipeline later this year. But I am curious, guys, what do you think about these new cards that we just got revealed today? How do you feel about the new Alolan Vulpix V-Star? And in terms of the Serena card we looked at, do you think that actually could replace Boss in certain decks? Sound off down below in the comment section. Would love to hear what you guys are thinking. But that's going to do it for today. Of course, if you did enjoy today's content, remember to leave a like on the video. And if you want to take that support to the next level, you can also become a patron at patreon.com/rarecandytcg or pick up some merch at rarecandytcg.com. Links to those will be down below in the description. But as always, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.